I have a wish list for BTS's comeback for 2025 and 26. I thought this would be a great way to do a BTS focused podcast for the new year. Let's go. Hi, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off the Purple Heart podcast, where I talk to you about K-dramas, C-dramas, BTS, and so much more. Right off the top of the bat, I genuinely want, once these guys are arrested, once they've all been discharged from military, if they need 6, 7, 8 months, I understand that the comeback is partially going to be 2025 and then the tour is going to be more 2026. If they need be, they can push everything to 2026. I highly doubt that because they're so analytical and structured, and they planned the military rollout so extensively well that I imagine they mean what they say. But I want them to get as much rest as humanly possible and they get those creative juices flowing. But please, when they are ready, if we can have a festa where they can just click their glasses together and say, we have made it, and take away the bitter taste of the 2022 version, which I still cannot bring myself to watch again. Oh, that disturbed my spirit on such a deep level. Oh, I will never get that imagery out of my head. And there was an interesting screen grab that I saw on Twitter, and someone had said that they had, during an interview in 2013, they had asked some questions, and I think Namjoon had said, I hope we're still together, we're working harmoniously together 10 years later. And I think Jin said something similarly along the lines of, just us being together, being happy, being celebratory. And Hobie said something akin to, I just want us to have like a birthday cake or a cake, an anniversary cake, and have 10 on it and the candles and everything. And it just says, we made it. And them just commiserating on the fact that they made it well over a decade as a group together. Everything that's encapsulated in that post from Twitter, I want to see on my screen at some point when they are ready. That's number one. Number two, as far as the comeback, I want, if humanly possible, rapper JK back. I miss rapper JK. Dark and Wild era from BTS was extraordinary work. So many of their errors are so visually and sonically fascinating, but that entire project and how it came to be and how their success was still so shaky during that period, I want to revisit that, but I specifically want rapper JK back. I feel like with the more adult 28-year-old version of Jungkook, him as a rapper would set me through the stratosphere. I want it. I need it. Am I putting any demands on BTS before anyone misconstrues what I'm saying? No. Disclaimer, I'm not saying they have to do this. I am just some random on the internet who just happens to be a fan of them. Relax yourselves, okay? I'm just saying, if I could manifest, I would love rapper JK back in full form. I'm just saying. I miss that. I miss that era. And they can explore with as many musical genres as they want. I just want that back. Okay? On the flip side of this, I want vocalist Hobie back. He did so much experimental stuff with Jack in a Box specifically and Hope on the Street. But there's a lot of cool stuff he did, but I really love his vocals as a singer. I love his tone. And even though I know the vocal line distribution is very much set in its ways, I want vocalist Hobie back. And if there could be like a callback and back and forth between Hobie's vocals and Tae's vocals, especially Tae's super deep, buttery smooth, jazz-esque vocals, and have those vocals come together to be featured in a major song in their catalog for their comeback. If I could manifest this, I would be queen of the world. You have no idea. Forget this universe. I would ascend to other multiple of galaxies million light years away from us if we could get that. I'm telling you. Oh, if at any point, this is number 3, we could get Joke version of Namjoon. I know he's ascended, especially with Right Place, Wrong Person. He has experimented so much in his alternative era, and I'm really glad that he took like duck to water to not being scared of what he could do. His documentary was really enlightening for me, and I was really happy I got to see it in theaters. And even though it was kind of low-key disappointing, there wasn't that many in the theater with me, but it was just the one showing that was available in my region. I was happy that I could at least focus more on what he was saying, because there's so few of us, and we were like the super fans. Like, you could tell, like, we were hooked on every word he was saying. And nobody left the theater well into all the credits rolled up, and we got the thank you army, and then the lights turned on in the theater, which is cool. And a little aside. But if it is all possible, if we could get the vocal prowess of Namjoon flexing on how incredibly talented he is as a lyricist and a rapper, and how his tone switching can stunt on them. Joke still is probably one of my most streamed from his projects, and I have such a vast love for all of his solo work. Indigo was literally like my personality, but there's something about Joke that still resonates deep within my spirits. So there. Yoongi, I actually want him to lean into his more vocal prowess as well. Partly, I want, as my number 4 of the wish list, for him to do a Cypher 5. Now, many are going to disagree with this. I had a video talking about my frustrations on how some were talking about how they didn't understand those that are part of ARMY that wanted this, and that Yoongi has ascended past this and he's resolved a lot of his anger. But with a lot of the events that were on 2024, and some of these events are still bleeding through to this year, I would, if at all possible, something akin to a Cypher 5, I would really love and appreciate, with him leading the charge. And whenever Yoongi starts off in a song, a rap line exclusive song, everyone has to duck for cover, because he don't believe in the slow build up. He's just already like just attack. Like he ain't messing around with you folks. He not wasting no time. He just gets in there. I just think about Ugg all the time and how he just did not let off of anyone's neck. As far as Jimin, and I also think this is extension to Jin, kind of like what I was saying with Hobie and Tae, I would love if I could have a song that would be a mashup of Jin's cover of Sarangye, his specific vocal styling and how airy his voice was and how hauntingly gorgeous and beautiful that was, and have it mix with something of the flavor of Jimin's Serendipity / Lie. That's a very tall order, and I can't even articulate how that would sound, but if it could meld all the colors and shadings of those 3 songs with those vocal stylings, I would ascend into the clouds. The way I can't let this go, and I've talked about this in some other podcasts as well, and I think I was talking about Jin's demo in particular about Epiphany, and how much the demo version that we got on the Proof album was so soul crushing in a way that it just kind of unearthed something in me. That if I could get something like that with some of Jimin's vocals, and Serendipity, as a by the way, is like my favorite song of all time. Like, it's in my top 5 of all favorite songs, and I'm talking about from all of my favorite musical artists across all sorts of genres, from all sorts of time periods. Serendipity is like right up there. I can't explain to you why there's such emotional resonance with that song in particular, but it's that. As far as like visual concepts, I really don't know what I would say as far as a wish list, I personally have always loved the Wings era, but unfortunately, the Wings era, a lot of the artistry from that came from very dark subject matter and a massive low point for the group. And I don't want them necessarily to suffer. I don't want them to suffer at all, to be honest. But I do know a lot of artists, when they go through a lot of life-changing events, especially when they're more negatively perceived, they tend to tap into something that's very raw and guttural, and it can really turn into incredible art. So I'm kind of fixated on the Wings era, but I don't like the cost that it would bring. But with everything that did transpire in 2024, I'm sure there's a lot of commentary to be had, and I don't know if they really want to get into the nitty-gritty of their experiences as part of the military. There's probably a lot that they deservedly so would like to keep private and keep close to the chest. But if they were willing to bare their souls a little bit, I guess I do, if I'm being honest, like the styling of Wings. And that kind of imagery would be really interesting to me. But funny enough, I also really like the Love Yourself series, and how like shifting from the tear into her, into the entire, loving yourself, all that imagery and just all the connecting artwork for the albums was fascinating to me, and I really would like that as well. So I'm kind of up in the air with that. But that's pretty much my wish list. That's pretty much my wish list for BTS. And again, I'm going to reiterate, the biggest wish of all is that I genuinely want them to have time with their family, their dearest, closest loved ones, and for them to feel refreshed enough that when they do tap back and everything kind of gears up and speeds up into the comeback, that they truly feel at their peak. So many of the messaging in their later works before the initial enrollment into the military is kind of concerning. As much as I could enjoy the music as a consumer, like I keep thinking of like the messaging in songs like Black Swan, and I was like, I really hope at some point they get a genuine break. I'm someone that genuinely, as much as I enjoy them, if they needed several years to kind of regroup and then come back together, I would be okay. Not many would agree with that. I think most would agree that they want them to rest and recalibrate. Recalibrate, is that the word? Ugh, I didn't have a lot of sleep, so I'm running on fumes. And this is like off the dome. I would be okay, because I've had so many artists that I've loved over the years where they make one album and they're gone for like 5 to 10 years. And you're like, are they ever coming back? And then they do, and it's like, oh, awesome, right? I'm with that with BTS. Like, I'm okay with them taking literally as much time as possible. 8 days, 8 years, it's neither here nor there. It's just knowing that they're together as a group, that they get to enjoy the human experience, they get to decompress and truly tap into their artistry and get to create whatever art form that they feel best will represent them at that moment of time, and for us to share in on it. That's, to me, what I would want most. And I guess I'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts going into the new year. What are some things that you're looking forward to with BTS coming into later half of 2025 and going into 2026 as far as comebacks? Let me know your thoughts below. I'm excited. I can't wait. If you're listening via Spotify, Apple, please leave your feedback and commentary on those platforms. If you're watching the video format on YouTube, of course, please let me know. Like all those prompts I just mentioned, I'm very curious, I like the diversity of the Army fandom, and there's always some really cool theories and stuff that people come up with, and I'm always interested to learn more. Till the next episode, bye.